I'm here to express that I no longer feel safe within the four walls at Festa, and I feel that my freedom has been taken away from me. I have been waiting since second grade for swimming during school at Festa, only now to find out I am sharing a locker room with a trans female.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Wow, things are going crazy in this transgender space. I mean, every day I see something more and more insane. You know, I don't care if a person needs to transition. I did it. It was so helpful in my life. I did it 30 years ago. I'm telling you, these people like me exist. We really do. The problem that I'm having as a transsexual person is the nonsense that's coming out of this so-called trans community. And one of the big problems I have is how we are bringing children into this space. And every day I see something new that makes me want to scream. Leave the kids alone. Really. So what I'm about to show you today is so disturbing beyond belief. It's just unbelievable that this is happening in our school system, to our young people, to gaslighting kids, to making them do things that are uncomfortable for them for so-called trans rights. What about everybody else's rights? You know, as a transsexual person, I just want you to know that I believe in everybody's rights. I don't believe that I should have any rights over you or you should have any rights over me. And I need to hear you if you're uncomfortable with me. That's how I walk the world so easy and so flowing. It's up to me to make sure that I walk the world comfortable along with you. It's not up to trans people to make you feel uncomfortable. This has been the hugest problem in this new transgender movement. But before I move on, I just want to thank you so much for subscribing to my channel, liking these videos, sharing them with people, and really understanding how getting my voice out there has been huge, not only for me in feeling that I feel like I'm actually pushing back on this insanity, but for, I think, the health of us as people, and not just LGBTQIA people, but people. And, you know, I'm a people person, and it's been a huge part of my transition. So now I'm going to show you this video that I found that is so absurd, but it's an important video. Okay, so this young girl is speaking in front of the school system, I think it's in New York City, and talking about how uncomfortable she is. Now, I went and did a little research on this video, and she's an 11-year-old young girl. Remember, my son is 11, so I'm very familiar with that age group. And what she says is pretty profound. But the fact that an 11-year-old little girl has to say this in this day and age is disgusting. Okay? So let's look at this and then we'll react to it.
I'm here to express that I no longer feel safe within the four walls at Festa, and I feel that my freedom has been taken away from me. I have been waiting since second grade for swimming during school at Festa, only now to find out I am sharing a locker room with a trans female who may still have a penis. I do not feel comfortable being exposed to that, and I no longer feel safe. This has nothing to do with any being a bad person. It is simply...
It makes me actually so sad that this little girl has to say those things. She has to use the word penis. She has to feel uncomfortable. You know, I remember being a little girl, and it's a hard part of life. And, you know, she's not comfortable being in a locker room with a young boy who identifies as a girl, is not a girl, identifies as a girl, and still has a penis. And we are forcing an 11-year-old young person, a young girl, to be in that locker room. Now, this is so huge and so amazing that this young person has stood up and started to speak out. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be more of these people standing up and speaking out. And we have to, if we're going to listen to 11-year-old trans kids, why are we not listening to 11-year-old kids? You know, just because the trans kid is struggling and doing all that, which is also trans kid, which is also not okay to me. But why are we overriding other people, young people's feelings for these people's feelings? Why are they in a protected class and no one else is? This young girl needs to also be in a protective class, which I think actually she is. is it Title IX or Title VIII? She should be in a protective class as well. If she's not comfortable in a situation and everyone's just like, get over it, but like the trans kid, one out of all of the others, gets to have this space. There's easy ways to make this work. Create a little space for that person to be in. Create a space. But the other thing is that this young girl was saying she's waited since second grade to be on this swim team. And now they're going to let some biological boy come on the swim team. You know, I keep telling you all, I was an athlete as a girl. It was one of the best things that ever happened to me. Team sports is so important for young people. Participating in girl sports is so important for girls. And now we're dealing with this stuff. And this young girl has to stand up in front of a school board and say this. This is what we are making. We are making this young girl do this. I'm infuriated by it. Let's move on to it's like a 10-minute clip or something.
It is simply that I do not feel mature enough to view any man's penis, whether they identify as a female or a man. A penis is a penis.
Private spaces are one of the most important things in a growing boy or girl's life. Private spaces we as children go to recognize the change within us and our body. Everyone should feel safe, but I and my fellow students are being forced to sign petitions to allow these things to follow through.
These kids are being forced to sign petitions. Because if they don't, they get called transphobic, they get called bigots, they get called every name in the book. Trans shouldn't even be in the conversation around young people at school. If you are transitioning your child, that's your choice, which I disagree with, but it's your choice to do that. And if you can't handle the stuff that's going to happen to your child, remove your child from that particular school and put them someplace else that nobody knows them, okay? But for you to disrupt the whole school system, disrupt everybody else's lives because this one young person believes somehow at 13 that they're not really a boy, but they're really a girl, all of a sudden out of nowhere, this is everywhere in every school system where it never was before, then it's your responsibility as a parent to put your child in a place where they'll be safe, where they'll be welcomed, where they can become that girl without any pushback. But this stuff has to stop. It is not fair to override young girls because some boy thinks he's a girl, and now everyone has to move over, and you're going to expose a young girl to penis like that? That is uncomfortable for an 11-year-old girl. And she said it. She said, no matter if it's a person who is a boy or identifies as a girl, a penis is a penis. I'm just disgusted by this whole thing. Okay, let me just roll a little bit more here.
You are not teaching me to be okay with who you are. You are pushing me to show my vulnerable parts to somebody I may not trust. But this is not a hate speech. This is a 15-year-old student who's affected by the decisions you push upon us. I am the child on the other side of this, and I and my friends want our sense of privacy to be valued by the higher-ups.
Central to this debate is the issue at hand of allowing individuals who are biological men or women to enter bathrooms or locker rooms that do not align with their biological sex. This practice leaves many feeling vulnerable and breaches a moral and ethical boundary, suggesting that those who identify differently should utilize single-occupancy bathrooms. This stance is not rooted in transphobia, but in a concern for the safety and privacy of all students.
There you go. Why is everything transphobic if you want to make... So do you hear what they're saying? They want to make single stalls for trans people. That's exactly what they should do. I'm in favor of that as a transsexual. What are you talking about? How is that transphobic to give a trans person their own space? That is actually being respectful to trans people. It is not being disrespectful. It's saying we respect you and we respect ourselves. So let's figure out a solution, right? How come no one wants solutions? This is not a solution. This is forcing people to take on other people's belief system that you don't believe in. Like I always tell you, you don't have to agree with me in my transition. It doesn't do any problems for me at all because I'm secure in my own self and I know why I needed to transition. I don't expect the whole world to be okay with that. But what I do notice from a lot of people who disagree with my transition, at least you're willing to call me he, and you're willing to see that I'm willing to kind of meet you halfway. And that's where we learn how to coexist in this world together. This stuff is taking us all out. It's not only taking trans people out, it's taking just people out. It's making us hate on each other. And number one, the children. How dare we do this to children? Thanks so much for watching. I'm going to say it every time after these reaction videos. Exhausting. But thanks, you all. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and doing all that stuff for me. And remember, you are loved. And I'll see you guys all on the Wednesday live.